Hey everybody, it's TotalGamerJunkie and I welcome you all back to my channel. Now before this video starts, Legacy of the First Hidden Blade will be uploaded later today. It's just, it didn't, something went wrong with my recording, so I've had to re-upload it again. Like, it's just, like, I'm not going to get into it, but anyways, in this video I want to explain my reasons why I think Lilly's role in the final season was a waste. Now, as you all know, like, we rediscover her in episode 2, but, like, thanks to Smack and Pie, I was like, yeah, like, they had leaks about Lily's art, like, at the end of episode 2, you know, where you make choices, but I was already like, yeah, Lily is definitely returning. I was 100% sure of that. Yeah, so anyways, I gotta say, for me personally, when I was like, we get to see Lily again, I wanted to see what role she would play. I had a feeling she'd be a leader of a certain community, but I didn't think that she'd be a bandit, because really, it's like, I know how everyone is like, after she killed Carly or Doug, she's a total bitch, but it's really more complicated than that. I mean, like, what do you call it? Like, Ben's like the whole catalyst. He's the one that basically is the reason that everyone's like, oh, Lily's such a bitch, because he was slipping the Raiders supplies, because he thought they had one of his friends, and when he found out they didn't, the Raiders said they'd kill him and everyone else in the motor inn if he didn't keep doing it, so he didn't really have a choice. But it's because of this mistake he made. That's when Lee found out about the medical supplies. That's why the bandits attacked. They thought the deal was off, and that, but everyone else except for Ben didn't know there was a deal going on. And during the fight at the motor inn, Duck gets bit, as we all know. Now, if you have Carly with you, then Lily will shoot her in the head, like, because she like believes both Ben and her were helping the Raiders, but like as the fight goes on, I believe personally she starts to think it's more and more Carly. You know what I mean? She starts to believe more and more that Carly's the one who's been dealing with the Raiders, not Ben. So she shoots her in the head, and she's like, tells Lee it's like she couldn't be trusted. She was 100% certain it was Carly. I believe that, otherwise she wouldn't have shot her in the head. Now, with Doug, however, what she did is an accident. She what do you call it? She basically what do you call it? Went to kill Ben, but Doug saved his life and lost his in the process. Now, as from this point, we get to choose to abandon her or take her back in the RV. We abandon her. We don't see her until season 4, episode 2, or the episode 2 of the final season, whatever you want to call it. And we don't. If we take her in the RV, she will steal it, and then we won't see her until the final season. Now, I gotta say, like, it's really like a matter of perspective, because like, we do find out later in the game, like on the train, this is after Cutcher and Duck died, we find out that Ben was the one giving the bandits supplies. And basically, this is, what do you call it, like, where I was like, oh, you fucking dick, you got Cutcher and Duck killed. Like, I didn't really care that, about Lily, but, like, in a way, I guess I should have, because he's the reason that Carly or Doug dies. Like, he's the one that set Lily off. I guess you could say, Kenny is the one who sets her off when, after killing her dad, she becomes a little unhinged. And I guess also Lee, if he chose to help Kenny, he is also partially responsible for her dad's death as well. But basically, the whole, like when we get to episode 4, Ben can't keep it a secret anymore. He tells Kenny what he did, and Kenny tries to kill him, and you can be like, you should kick his ass, or he didn't mean to, it was an accident. And so we all have to escape Crawford. We first go down the bell tower, but there's walkers there, so we have to head up. And this is where the walker, who's actually Crawford, I don't know if any of you knew that, he reaches out and grabs Ben, and you have to shoot Crawford. If you don't shoot him, then he'll pull Ben down, and he'll die. Well, Ben won't die, but his legs will break in that, and the walkers will eat him, and then he'll die. But if you shoot the Crawford walker, then Lee will jump over and grab Ben's hand before he falls. And this right here is actually where Kenny is like, Lee, we should leave him. It's like, you should leave him. And we can understand, he got his wife and son killed, so, and Kenny wants to leave him behind. But is that really the same if you think about it? Because he wants Ben to die, and just like Lily wanted Ben to die too. The only difference is that Kenny isn't the one who makes the decision. We as the players do. And if you do decide to let Ben die, it's like what do you call it? Kenny says something. I think it's along the lines of like, the dumb son of a bitch nearly got us all killed. Lee stepped up and did what he had to, something like that. I'm not sure. Anyways, like, and then another example I guess we could say is in episode 2 of season 2, when Luke and Clementine are on the bridge and they meet Matthew. And Nick comes over, he thinks that they're being held up and by a raider or something, and he shoots Matthew through the neck, and Matthew falls over the bridge and obviously dies. And we don't see him, but I believe he becomes a walker. I believe that. And then afterwards, after the whole dinner thing and that, and after we meet Bonnie and all that, we find out that Matthew was actually, Matthew and, what do you call it? Matthew and Walter are actually married. Or if they're not married, then they're boyfriends. I'm not entirely sure. It's one of the two. Anyways, what do you call it? I actually knew. I had a feeling, like, I was like, oh, Nick, you dick. It's like, you shot Walter's boyfriend or husband. Like, yeah, because I had a feeling because I didn't really play it, because when season 2 came out, like, I had the PS3. I didn't have an internet connection really, so I like watched stuff on YouTube at school. And so when I was watching like episode 2, I was like watching YouTubers like Mick Ice and Fire and Hazan Al Jalani or something like that, whatever he's called. Anyways, basically, Walter, he asks you as Clementine, is Nick a good person or is he an asshole? And you can decide. You can be like, yeah, Nick's a good guy, or you can say he's like everybody else. And if you say he's like everybody else, Walter will let him die. When he's getting attacked by a walker, he'll let Nick get his throat bit out. But if you choose not to, what do you call it? If you choose not to let, if you say Nick's a good guy, then basically Walter will save his life. But really, it's like right there. It's like basically we could also say that Clementine basically murdered Nick, if you think about it, because I didn't like Nick from the start. I was like, when I first saw the play, and I was like, nah, this guy's an asshole. I don't like him. I was like, fuck you. It's like basically I hated him and Rebecca. The only two I liked out of the group in season 2 was Sarah and Alvin, because they like when I first played the game, you know, I was like, they helped me out, and I was like, oh, thanks, I appreciate it, because like this is when I started playing, not when I was watching it online. Like when I started playing it, because like, you know, I didn't see people asking for Alvin for help in that. I didn't see that window scene. I was like, oh, Alvin, you're a cool guy. So like basically, and then when I started playing when I was on episode 2, I told Kenny not to shoot when he had a line on Carver, because I was like, nah, Alvin will die. And I was like, nah, Alvin helped me out. I don't want him to die. So Kenny, don't shoot. And basically, yeah, because I didn't really like anyone else. Like, even though Sarah is, like, more useless than Ben, and that's saying something, she was still a nice person and, like, helped out. She got Clementine the medical supplies, and I was like, yeah. And I just want to bring this up. There is no way Carlos is a doctor, okay? He did not. It's like, how can you not tell the difference between a dog bite and a walker bite? And I really wish when Clementine was eating food with Kenny, she brought it up. And then it's like, even like, and speaking of Kenny, that moment where he chooses to kill Carver, it's like Carver is a bad man, and I was like, yeah, Kenny, you fucking kill him. And then Luke's like, when I'm like with Luke, it's like Kenny's trying to protect the group. It's like he's not broken, and Luke's like saying, I'm sure Kenny's a good man, at least started off as a good man. I'm like, he's a good man. It's like fucking hell, Luke. It's like, shut up. You know, it's like and like that's another thing I hated. I was like, why are you forcing me to like Luke and Rebecca? It's like Rebecca wanted Nick to shoot Clementine. It's like, and if you say nothing, actually, she'll try and get the gun off Nick, and there'll be a shot fired, and Clem will nearly get shot. So it's like, really, fuck you, Rebecca. I don't give a shit about you, and honestly, you know, like, why Telltale? Why are you forcing me to care about piece of shit characters that I don't want to care about? And so, that's why I'm looking forward to the game, but Darth Marek, because I'm not really gonna spoil like much of like, because we talk, but I don't feel I don't think I should be telling a lot about the game that hasn't been posted or updated by him. But I remember him mentioning to me there's like a friendship status thing in that. So basically, that you can choose you can be friends or enemies with another with another person, like kind of like with Lewis in episode 2, where he's one of the people that votes to kick you out. And I was like, fuck you, Lewis. And I chose to say Violet, and then it's like, why would I hug him when I see him again? Like, I'm still mad at him for kicking me out. It's like, god damn it. Yeah, so basically, like one of the options I would have loved to see in episode 2 is if Mitch, you know how him and Clementine are having this fight. I personally would have loved to see like Mitch get attacked by a walker, and like Clementine's maybe carrying out one of those bags of fertilizer, and like you can choose to just carry the bag and walk right past him, and that'd be awesome. And he'd probably call Clementine a bitch, and then maybe there'd be an option where it's like, you said you'd rather take your chances with the Raiders, so I also assumed that meant with the Walkers, and that'd be really a cool option to be like, yeah, you don't want to be friends with this person, and you don't want to be their enemy in that. So yeah, so like I really like they need to make a Walking Dead like game like that. There needs to be that choice where it's like, um, I don't want to be forced to be friends with you. I don't even like you. Like, I gotta say, my out of the whole Walking Dead series, number one hated character, Gabe. 100%. Oh, I fucking hated that whiny bitch so much. Oh man, I really wish it was him that died instead of Mariana. God. God damn it. Like, seriously, just... I won't lie, I was so happy in my walkthrough. Like, I shot him. I was disappointed I didn't actually get to see the shot in the head. But, you know, I was like, alright, so Harvey kills him. I was happy. Even though they didn't show it and the angle was different, I was like, yes, sweet, this is awesome. Yeah, so really it's like, and Jane's always Jane mentions like to Clementine, she's like, Kenny's dangerous, Kenny's just like Carver, like Kenny might do the same to you if you're not careful. Like, if you try to stop him from beating Arvo, he'll accidentally elbow Clem in the face, and you can tell he feels bad about that. Like, because like when a person loses a family member, like, of course, you know, they're gonna be sad and angry and all that. They won't ever be the same. And like, I gotta say, for me, episode 5 was my second least favorite. Episode 4 being my least favorite, because basically all the choices that we had in that, save Sarah or not, like, it didn't really matter ultimately. Do we steal supplies from Arvo? Do we not steal supplies? Didn't really matter, and it was like, okay, that's disappointing. But like, I got the reason episode 5 was my second the second disappointing episode for me, like the second last. It was this, like, out of all the 5 episodes, episode 5 was my second favorite. I mean, well, my second last favorite, because they built up this whole thing with with Luke and Kenny, and then they just completely got rid of that, and it was like, god damn it. And I believe that the episode suffered because of that. Well, at least that's just my opinion. I still enjoyed the episode, but like season 2, episode 2, that was my favorite by far. That was my favorite of season 2. Really, it was. And just like in season 1 for me, which episode was it? Let's say, what do you call it? Episode 5 was my favorite, because that journey of Lee just trying to save Clementine, that was my favorite. For the New Frontier, for the final season, episode 4 was my favorite. And for the New Frontier, I don't really like many of the episodes, but if I had to choose, I guess I'd say... What can I say? I guess episode 1, and I mean episode part 1 and part 2 together, because let's face it, that's one episode. Because parts, even though it says parts, it's still one episode. So if you think about it, A New Frontier does have 4 episodes, just like the final season. Now, what do you call it? Like, for Lily, I believe her role, she shouldn't have been a raider. Like, she should have been, like, maybe, like, had another community. She shouldn't have been, like, because Lily is, like, a strong-willed individual, and she can be a bitch at times, but she wasn't really evil, and to see her become this, see her in the final season, for me personally, it's like, there are times where it doesn't feel like Lily. It just feels like a random raider who just happens to know Clementine. You know, it'd be like if you replaced her with another raider, who happened to meet Clementine at one point in the story, but it was only brief in that. Let's just say for example, in the cabin group, one of them did similar thing like what Lily did, and they kicked her out. And then that person showed up a few years later in the final season and saw Clementine. He or she could fill in that role of Lily. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like it's so stupid. And I really wish that they could. I did enjoy Lily in it, but I really wish that Telltale could have done more with her character. Anyways, I really do hope you all enjoyed this theory video, and I really did enjoy the final season, especially episode 4, and let me know what you think in the comments below. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.